Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are very pleased to have in the studio with us today Yigal Adato. He is the founder of Leaderato. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're honored to have you. And what is Leaderato?
So Leaderato is a leadership development company I started about 8 years ago.
And what got you into leadership?
So I've been doing youth leadership since I was about 16 years old in a youth movement. And growing up, seeing my father, who was an entrepreneur, my grandfather, my uncle, I just loved business. And I got into the pawn shop business,
right.
Opened my own chain. And I realized that my business started to grow when I started to implement the leadership tactics I used on the youth into my team.
Right. What are those tactics?
One is massive clarity. Right? I think a company, a youth, whoever you're leading needs to have massive clarity about where you're going. The second one is courage. I had to make courageous decisions, courageous conversations. And the third most basic one is commitment. They had to know I was committed to the mission and to them.
Right. So when you go through each one of those and you talk about clarity, obviously clarity has got 55,000 tentacles to it.
Yeah, for sure.
And one of it is communication, something that's near and dear to my heart, and so forth. So when you talk about communication, when it comes to being clear, you're talking about it from an oral standpoint, from a written standpoint, from every type of standpoint?
The most basic one, and this is what I ask every client I work with first, I say, what do you want?
Yeah. Because
so many times the business owner, the entrepreneur, the CEO, they don't vocalize, they don't communicate what they want.
Right.
And so that's the first thing I do. What do you want? What's not working? Let's go from there. And there's massive amounts of action just from that standpoint.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it sort of goes to, in some cases, companies begin with the end in mind. You know, you want to go there? Okay, you got to know where you want to go, as you're saying, before you get there, for God's sake, or else you're going to be all over the board in that aspect of it. Fascinated about courage, and it's so true. And I'm assuming a lot of that has to do with you cannot be afraid to fail.
Correct. I mean, so my saying is that courage is not the absence of fear. It's just asking you to step aside because you're on a mission.
Right.
Like, I'm a father of 3 girls. I'm a husband. I have fears. There's things that happen, but I just have to keep moving forward. And so many times leaders forget that their teams want to be led with courage.
You know what's interesting about that? I was very honored to work for the San Diego Union Tribune for many years, and I ran community and public relations and was a spokesperson. And I remember when our CEO said, hey, we need to change our culture, and he was right. And he did a brilliant job changing it, and I'm very happy to say we actually did some metrics behind it, and it showed we had changed. And a lot of it based on things that are common sense, right?
Yeah.
Communicate to your staff, show them you're supporting them. I mean, this is stuff you should have known when you were walking upright 3,000 years ago. But one of the things that was really interesting to me as a takeaway as a leader there was don't underestimate your nonverbal communication because those folks that work for you, work with you, your peers, the ones who, direct reports and so forth, they're going to look to you and see how you're going to react to something. And if you're shrugging your shoulders, you're rolling your eyes, you're doing one of these, they take that. Talk about that.
So there's something called social contagion in psychology.
Yeah.
And for example, when you go to the movies and everyone starts laughing, you start laughing.
Right.
And I experienced this with my wife. When I first got married, something stressed me out at work. I'd come home, I'd be upset. 30 minutes later, I was fine, and she was upset. Right? And she's like, and I'm like, why are you angry? Like, what did I do? She's like, I don't know. You came home angry, so I got angry. So we coined the term leader contagion.
Right.
And the way that you show up to your team, you're contagious.
That's
You
right.
either infect them with positivity or you infect them with negativity.
Right.
And that's how you build a great culture. Let's take a step back to the clarity. One of the other things that happens a lot is that leaders, they lie to themselves a lot. And they don't tell the truth of what's happening in their professional life and their personal life. And once we get through the BS, we can actually start having massive clarity to then take courageous action and be committed with that action.
So, what differentiates what you do from a leadership standpoint than from others?
Great. So my belief is that there's two types of leadership. It's internal and external leadership. External is how to have a meeting, how to delegate, how to improve your culture, how to give your team purpose, mission, vision, values, all those types of things. And my belief is that you can't work on that until you work on the leader themselves on the inside. So I created a framework called Unlock the Leader. And my belief is that a leader is not created or is not born, they're unlocked. There are things that happen in your life, traumas. I'll give you a quick example. 2020, forget the pandemic. Who cares about that at the moment? Father passed away, mom got a stroke, and we had a new baby. My leadership's going to get locked up.
Right.
Something's going to change. And I believe that you go through life with these situations, and if you don't know how to unlock them, have the keys, you can't lead. So I teach the keys to consistently unlock things that happen in your life so that you can consistently lead at a great level.
Right, we're chatting with Yigal Adato. He is the founder of Leaderato, an organization that sort of a non-traditional coaching system breaks through traditional leadership development. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 17th year, and we are sponsored, and honored to be sponsored by Mission Fed Credit Union. It's been doing great things in San Diego for more than 60 years. So we were chatting right before the show about quiet quitting, something that has been chatted about quite a bit, certainly since the pandemic. And I think, as you were mentioning, it was exacerbated because of the pandemic. Talk about that.
So first of all, I just want to congratulate you, by the way. I'm a podcaster myself. Before we get to that, 17 years is true commitment. Yeah. I think the average podcaster does 7 episodes and then quits.
Probably.
So congrats to you on that.
That's up to 5,000 now or something like that, right? Exactly. And I think the people who come on my show, they're the foolish ones. No, I've had a blast. I'm honored to chat with folks like you and other leaders. So
awesome.
I'm honored.
Thank you. So let's go back to quiet quitting.
Yes.
Quiet quitting is something that's been happening for many, many years.
Yeah.
When I ran my chain of stores here in San Diego, we had team members who would just work in a mediocre level and they think that they would get by. It happens.
Right.
And so quiet quitting was a term coined kind of like during the pandemic, after the pandemic,
right,
where I believe the pandemic magnified bad cultures, bad companies, and great cultures and good companies. So those that were magnified negatively, the team members said, why am I pushing so much if my boss doesn't care about me, if my company doesn't care about me? I don't want to leave. I don't want to quit. I need the money. So I'll just, work at a mediocre level, get my paycheck, and I'll just go, get my nails done, go walk my dog, do something and pretend like I'm doing the work I'm supposed to be doing.
Right. And with that, because the businesses are so shorthanded, and we know this, there's probably can't pick a different category from restaurants to airlines to, I don't know, make up a new category, for God's sake. Those folks really can't be laid off, can they? They can be, but very rarely.
It's tough to lay off.
When you're already shorthanded.
Yeah, let's talk about retail, for example. Yeah, right, retail at the moment is extremely shorthanded.
Exactly.
And every owner that I speak to in the business, in the service-based business, they say, Yigal, I can't be shorthanded. I'd rather have a warm body than try to find somebody different. I'll give you a quick example. Yeah. We had the number one sales guy, 38% of sales in the store, and he was horrible. He destroyed the culture. And I went up to my brother and said, hey, let's fire this guy. He's like, are you crazy? Mm-hmm. He's like, Yigal, I'm in charge of the sales. I can't fire my number one. He's my number one sales guy. I said, if we fire him and the rest of the team doesn't make up for it, I'll give you my paycheck for 3 months. That's what I said. I had to convince him, give him a guarantee.
Right.
We fired the guy. The team came to me and thanked me, said, thank you so much.
Right.
And so that person who is working at a mediocre level, who's quiet quitting, is bringing your whole organization down. And because you allow it, they see you as a coward.
Correct.
And not courageous.
100%. That is true no matter if you run a 5,000 person business or you have a vacuum shop with 7 folks.
Yeah.
That is, and talk a little bit about that as well, Yigal, that these leadership principles, it doesn't make a difference of how big your company is or how small it is. They apply no matter what, correct?
Yeah. So I came from for-profit leadership. I ran one of the biggest business associations in San Diego, nonprofit, youth leadership. All the principles work, but it doesn't work unless you work on yourself. That's the truth.
Right.
You can read every book, take any course, but if you're not willing to open up, tell the truth of what's going on, it doesn't work.
Right. When do you see now quiet quitting still going on and then going on at the same level it was last year?
It's still going on. The only problem today is that the team member has so many options of where to go work that they're making the decision to say, I'm going to actually quit.
Right.
And go work somewhere that does care about me.
Right.
And I love what I'm doing.
Right, exactly. So, therefore, okay, owner/leader, you need to change how you got this culture, correct?
First of all, you have to change you.
Right.
You have to look into the mirror and say, where am I not being honest? Because, Drew, the truth is, rarely does a leader know what it's like to work for themselves. And rarely do they ask the team, how am I doing? Where can I improve? Right? What's my weak point? That nobody sends that email out to their team to get feedback. We all do 6-month, one-on-one meetings. We give feedback to our team. You're not doing the best. You could sell more. You could be a better team player. But rarely do we get that feedback ourselves.
Yeah, it's so funny about this. You're talking about my experiences at the Union Tribune, and I really want to do shout out to our president and CEO at the time, Gene Bell, because he did exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. There were upward reviews, downward reviews. There were every reviews in this aspect of it. And listen, we were constantly asking ourselves, how are we doing this? And I think it also depends on the individual, don't you think?
Yeah.
Where, listen, I know what it's like to be in that position because I was in that position. So don't be an idiot and forget what it was like to do that. Now, how do I make it better? And we all know this. You want your team to thrive. It makes everyone look good and get your ego out of the door. It always amazes me on this. I would like you to address this, and it's just phenomenal. You hear this all the time. Probably this has been going on for 4 billion years. Are those folks that, oh my God, I don't want that salesperson to get a pretty high commission. They'll make more than me. I go, you're an idiot. If that person's bringing in $40 zillion, guess what? You're going to make 30 zillion of it. You let them go. Let her go. Why do people do that?
So I think you said it right. It's a lot of financial based, and we forget about freedom based.
Right.
Like when you're the owner of a company, do you want to make more money? Yes. But for me, having a wife and 3 daughters, I want more freedom, time to do everything. So if my sales guy is doing $2 million of sales and he's making $250,000 of commission, mazel tov. Like, congrats to him.
Right.
It's going to give me freedom to be able to go on vacation.
Exactly. It makes so much sense. So what is quiet hiring?
Quiet hiring is a methodology. Again, it's been happening for ages, just given a name.
Sure.
Is basically when I say, hey, Drew, you're in sales. I can't really afford to get a marketing department. Can you help me in marketing? So now you're sales/marketing.
Right.
So that's what quiet hiring is. Like we're quietly hiring within the company. We're making you do more work than you ever intended to do. And we're paying you the same, essentially.
How do you do that without causing burnout or someone going, listen, my job just got busier and more stressful, yet I'm making the same?
Yeah. So 2 things. One, you want to make sure you have team players on the team.
Right.
Like I remember we had a warehouse guy, and the warehouse guy, we said, hey, do you think that you can go out there to the counter? He said, yeah, let me try it out. Let's check it out. He was warehouse/sales for 6 months. Then he just crushed everybody in the sales department, and we made him sales. So you have the opportunity to try something new. 2, communicate. Can you do this? Is it going to cause burnout? Where can I help you? What resources can we give you to make it better? Today with AI, with VAs, with so many different resources, I can make you the sales/marketing VP and have a whole department of VAs in the Philippines, Latin America, help you for a fraction of the cost, for example. But I want to go back to something, Drew, if I can.
Please.
There's 3 types of leaders in our company that we talk about. There's Siegel leaders. Siegel leaders are exactly what it sounds like. Seagulls, what do? You're on the beach, you're sitting with your family, they fly in, they squawk, they crap all over everything, they steal your food, and they take off.
Okay.
That's a seagull leader.
Right.
That's the leader that you said, I don't want him to make more money.
That's right. That's right.
Right? Then you have the marshmallow leader. A marshmallow is cute, it's fluffy, it's sweet, it's nice. But what happens when you put them close to the fire?
Yeah. Yeah. They burn.
Burns up.
Right.
Tastes like crap, right? And then you have what we call the epic effect leader. And the epic effect leader, you've mentioned that CEO twice in the last 10 minutes.
Right.
Because he had an effect on you.
He did.
Greater than just your paycheck.
Of course.
He made you feel inspired, motivated, changed the culture, whatever it is that he did.
That's why I stayed at the company.
There you go. So he had this effect greater than just the company.
Right.
Probably because of him, you slept better. You were more present, less stressed out and overwhelmed with your family, with friends. That's what we call epic effect leadership. And when you unlock your true leadership, you make a much bigger impact than just the bottom line.
Right. And then hopefully I was doing the same with my team as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We are chatting with Yigal Adato. He is the founder of Leaderato. We are chatting on another episode of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union in this beautiful Mission Fed studio in Scripps Ranch. When we come back from break, we're going to talk more about how to develop one's internal and external leadership qualities. And Yigal, what we always do in the second half of the interview is ask our listeners to, what can we do to help what you're doing, to support what you're doing, and whatever you need them to do. Our listeners pretty much come to the dance on some of those things. When we be right back after this break.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show on Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. Honored to be chatting with Yigal Adato, founder of Leaderato, talking about leadership in so many different types of forms. And one of the things that I was really intrigued about, what you said in the first part of the segment, was developing one's internal and external leadership qualities. I want you to give a nice little review on that again.
I'll give you a quick story.
Please.
Got married. I was 7 months into my marriage. I was a busy entrepreneur, ran 68 employees, 3 stores, all that type of stuff. And I'll never forget, I came home one day and my wife was crying. And I said, babe, what's up? What's going on? And she looked me straight in the eyes and she said, I didn't get married to be alone. This is not my dream. You got to go fix this somehow. So at first I got angry, right? Nice car, nice house. We go on vacations, all that type of stuff. How can she do this to me?
Right.
But I looked in the mirror and I was like, you're a liar. You come home, you work lots of hours. There's, really any physical connection. Things are not the way you painted it when you promised marriage.
Right.
So that when I talk about internal leadership, it's there first. What's not okay in my life? What's not working for me? I was 40 pounds overweight, right? I had to look internally to say, hey, I need to be able to be healthy for myself in mind, body, and soul. I have to be present for my wife. All the promises I made, I had to be in integrity and keep them. And if not, then how can I lead externally? So when we talk about internal leadership, It's that. So we work on that with the clients. It's what's not working internally, relationships. I have 4 segments of life. I have connections, we have condition, we have cash, and we have conviction, right? Connections, my relationships, how are those? Condition, how are you in your health? Cash, how are you financially? You have no idea how many CEOs I work with or business owners who have no idea about their personal metrics or their profession or the business metrics.
That's wild.
Right? And then the conviction is your self-belief, your faith, whatever that is that gives you internal strength. And when we can work on that, then you show up a whole different way to lead externally.
Right, exactly. So when you, now, do you put on seminars, do you put on workshops, do companies hire you? How does that work?
Yeah, so I do 3 things. One is I do what we call the Leadership Accelerator.
Yeah.
It's like an 8-week leadership acceleration online on Zoom.
Okay.
I have the same thing that I do probably once a quarter here in San Diego over 2 days. And we do some cool outdoor activities because we're in beautiful San Diego.
Right. Face-to-face, then those are sort of the people are there, right?
People are there.
Okay, right.
And then I do kind of like the executive coaching one-on-one
Right.
as well.
Right. And it doesn't make a difference the size of the company or the content of the company, whatever they want to do. That's it. So, how do our listeners support your efforts? Pass the word on, obviously, about what you're doing. What else can they do?
So my personal mission, which is written like in my office, it's to build a legion of leaders so my daughters grow up in a better world.
Right.
So whether you use me or not, only 5% of companies ever implement leadership development. And what I want, like, help me on my mission. If you want to call me so that it's me or it's somebody, you've got a friend who does it, it doesn't matter. Just don't leave it. Don't not focus on it, because when you build a team of leaders, you have a better life, you make more money, you have more freedom. And I've proven it with over 350 people I've coached so far in business.
And so the reply to that is, which is a foolish one, but you can call me a fool, but I'll pretend I'm the fool. I don't have time for that. And then the answer is, you don't have enough time not to do that, correct?
It costs you more money to not do it.
100%.
It costs you more time to not do it.
Right, exactly. And, to your point on this, and we talked to a lot of folks that come on my show here are, folks that do leadership like yours and all that aspect of it. And we all know that there's probably so much money left at the table because the leader doesn't exhibit these behaviors or, does not embrace the fact that anyone at the company can be a leader. It doesn't make a difference what your status is. Everyone's got great ideas. Are you unlocking those ideas, correct?
Yeah, correct. And when you lead people, you have a responsibility to them, because under you, they can either go home stressed out, they can go home, fight with their spouse, they can go home and be upset with their kids, or because of you, they can lead an epic life, they can enjoy, they can love coming to work, and you can make them a better person. If you're the type of guy who says, I don't care about that, then you probably don't want to come work with me. That's the honest truth.
Right.
But if you wake up and you say, I care about my people, I want to make a difference.
Right.
I call it like the Care Bear stare, right? If you want to stare, if you want to beam positivity and leadership, I'm the guy to call, because we'll unlock the leader in you and your team so you have more fun, make more money, and have more freedom.
Right. We're chatting with Yigal Adato. He is the founder of Leaderato. I'm Drew Schlosberg, as you're listening to another edition of Drew Schlossberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 17th year in the beautiful Mission Fed studio. Mission Fed's been doing wonderful things for San Diegans for more than 60 years. So how do they get a hold of you? Do they give you a call? Do they send up smoke signals? Do they get that seagull that was flying over?
I prefer the pigeon. I prefer the pigeon.
Okay.
You can go to Leaderato.com.
Right.
And I have the Unlock the Team PDF that you can download.
Right.
I'm the only at Yigal Adato on any social media that you're going to find.
Right.
It's YIGALADATO.
Right.
And just reach out and send me an email, Yigal@Leaderato.com, and check out my website. Just the biggest thing is this. The one thing I don't do is I don't try to convince you that this works.
Right.
I want you to know that this works. And if you're interested, give me a call. I'm not going to beg you to make a change. I'm not going to beg you to have a better life. I'll help you get there.
So let me ask you this. We're a big fan in Cloudcast Media of working with the schools, pre-K through 12th grade, especially focusing on a lot of college and career pathways and so forth. And one of the things I think that is missing in the schools, and I spent 11 and a half years at San Diego Unified, and I'm a big public school advocate. Listen, there's a lot of things they can do to improve. There's no question about that, to say the least. But I think one of them is teaching these real life skills and so forth. And I think every single student should have a leadership class somewhere in their coursework, probably preferably in each one of the different grades, whether it's elementary or whether it's middle school or whether it's high school. Do you go to the schools at all?
I do. I'm actually consulting a school at the moment.
Okay.
Preschool through 8th grade school.
Can you say what the school is? Or?
Yeah, it's called the Hebrew Day School here in San Diego.
Sure. Uh-huh.
And I'm actually working on a program that should be done in about 6 months. It's called the Leaders Program. It's LEADYRS for youth and in your young years to be able to launch into the younger generation. Because if I can get them to lead now, when they go through work, college, all those types of things, they're going to have a better life. They're going to show up to work more efficiently, effectively, and be happier. And it helps with my mission of building a legion of leaders.
No, I think that's fantastic. Any final comments?
I appreciate you being here. And again, you should be proud for doing this for 17 years. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm honored to have guests like you on the show. We got some wonderful guests that are coming on later. Home of Guiding Hands, the Alzheimer's Association of San Diego and Imperial County, and then Thrivata, I should say. Looking forward to hearing about that. That's all about human performance and so forth. Again, shout out your website one more time.
Leaderato.com, LEADERATO.
So I would love to make this offer to you if you're so interested. Love to have you bring in someone who has benefited from your services. Have them come in. We always like to have the folks. Here's the street cred, folks. You heard from Yigal. Now you're going to hear the person that has worked with them. Because they've worked with them, these are the great things that have happened at his or her company. Make a deal on that?
Yeah, deal. Done.
Wait, we will follow up with you. Absolutely. We've been chatting with Yigal Adato. He's the founder of Leaderato. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union and the wonderful Mission Fed studios here in Scripps Ranch. Mission Fed continuing to do great things in our community for more than 60 years. We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.